Satnam, I'm Lillian Savoy with Awaken Change podcast, and where we come home to our body, our energy, and our soul. So I'm so excited. This is the third time that I have tried to record this podcast. And it's about when irritation is a sign to get creative. Now, the funny thing is the first time I recorded it, I recorded 40 minutes of it in silence because I didn't have my microphone on. And the second time I recorded it, I was 20 minutes in and they popped up a little message and it said, "Are you still there?" Which means I had recording technical problems. So right now is third time's a charm. So I'm talking with my bestie on the phone and I was like, and she said that, well, third time's a charm. I said, well, where does that even come from? So she said, well, just research it. So hit up Google, and that first print of third time's a charm was back in 1820s. And it was because after two failures, it was more likely for you to have a success. And it was based on superstitions that if you had failed twice, then you succeed again. Third time is the charm. So I was like, okay, who is they and why are they telling us what to do for third time's a charm? Well, here I am, third time's a charm. Microphone's on, I'm recording, and I'm so happy to be here because this week has been tough because after spending a week in Hawaii, magical place, that was my first time ever, it was hard getting back into the groove of things of life. And, life is magical, life is wonderful. But when you go to an even higher vibe and go to a place that you've never been, and definitely on my bucket list, it was like, I don't know that I want to go back. I want to, I want to live on an island. I want to own a farm and I want to grow coffee and drink coffee every day and get body scrubs and massages and talk to turkeys and watch the birds wash themselves in my pool. And there were so many magical moments to connect with nature in Hawaii that I don't really feel necessarily going to the Florida beaches all the time, because sometimes the amount of people in Florida and Alabama, you're monitoring people instead of nature. And when you go to Hawaii, it's so much less people. So you have more time to connect with the trees and the bees and the birds. The birds were everywhere. They'd come in the pool, give themselves a bird bath, talk to you, look at you, and then they'd fly off after they got their little bath. And I just thought that was so magical. And then we went when it had been raining for about 10 days, and we were there for 7. And it did mist every day. And we did get gypped of our sunsets a few days, but we got in a couple of magical sunsets. One when we were dining at the Canoe House, which I highly recommend. And the sunset was just on point. Everything you hear about, dark pinks, dark oranges, dark yellows, and the blues and the midnight blues all mixed in. The company was amazing and I miss them the most, but it was my bestie in Seattle. And, Hawaii is just a little jaunt for them. It's a very long trip from Louisiana, but that's why we had never been, because it was like, oh, it's so far. That sounds so far. But my amazing sister stepped in and took care of our kid for a whole week. And when we got back, he asked us when we were going on our next vacation and to leave him with my sister. So thanks, sis, for taking such good care of my kid. He didn't even miss me. But it was such a nice time to connect with Andre and besties and her family and our friends. And it was just 4 couples. And we each had our own little space, and we had orchids growing out of the trees and bird baths filled with like succulents. And we had all these native Hawaiian plants that actually look a lot like our Louisiana plants. Like I found Mimosa pudica, and instead of our like our camellias here, they had their kind of own version. And instead of like our bushes and stuff that everybody has, like their hollies, they have like their versions, but they're just brighter. They're a brighter green. They obviously thrive in the warmer weather, not the cold. So I felt like my gardening tips and my appreciation for nature was just expanded in Hawaii. And that was just such a personal message for me. And I think it's been a message that I've been wanting to share with you for a while. And I remember doing some coaching with Gay Hendricks, and his tool always was just to expand. So he would take his arms and put them over his head, his chest and his heart. And he would say, Lillian, you just need to expand the energy, right? So if you want to do this with me, just like hold your hands in front of you in like a nice little, let's say kind of like ballerina pose, right? A little circle holding like a beach ball. And anything that you're having trouble with or that is irritating you or you're angry with or you feel stuck, you just take those little hands and you hold your beach ball, and then you just breathe in and expand your chest and expand your arms out, out, out. And, he would say, just take some deep breaths in and deep breaths out and keep expanding the energy. Keep expanding the energy until you feel that energy that you're struggling with or that you're feeling stuck around is gone. Because what I'm learning in my quantum physics class right now, which is so cool, is that you probably already know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We cannot destroy or create energy. Energy is just transformed or transmuted. So we have our energy, right? We have it in the sun, the moon, the stars, the cosmos, the earth, the water. In our bodies, right? We have our own energetic bodies, and we're all given that energy. And so we want to transform and transmute this energy. And just, if we think about it as instead of getting rid of it, which is a pattern that I had for so long. Let me just get rid of that, right? Just release it, which is fine. Release is different than getting rid of, but still, you release the attachment to it, but then you expand in the energy. And I felt like the trip to Hawaii was really expanding my mindset, expanding my connection with nature, expanding my own perspective of, the rules in my head. And maybe you feel like this, so maybe this will help you. But, the rules we give ourselves, right? It's like, oh, Hawaii's too far, can't go there. That was a rule. It didn't really feel like a rule, but it was a rule. It was kind of like a mind construct that I didn't want to expand behind. And I remember even having a conversation with Andre. I was like, I'm going. If you don't want to go, that's okay, but I'm going to go. And because he was like, he didn't want an 8-hour plane flight. No one wants an 8-hour plane flight. So we both had to just bite the bullet, book the flights, and pray for extra leg room. And we both did fine. I slept more than him, which I'm very proud of myself because I don't really sleep on planes. And man, did I sleep on planes. So again, I expanded out of the mind construct of, oh, I don't sleep on planes. Yet another rule that didn't really seem like a rule, but it was a rule. So it was always stressful. Like, oh, I don't sleep on planes, so I can't really do along because then I'll be wiped and tired and then I won't have fun. Busted through that one. Expand the energy out. Now I can fly to Hawaii. I sleep on a plane. I was fine. They don't even feed you. They barely give you, your water these days anymore. So you just bring your own stuff and sleep up with your neck tilted a little bit to the left. And then you work your body out when you get there and do some yoga and you'll be fine. So we also expanded our wallet because our friends have impeccable taste of food. Okay. I thought I was a foodie until my bestie she's always been a foodie. Okay. She's always cooked and her dad was a foodie too. Ooh, her dad would make us eat some weird shit growing up. And I was like, why are we eating tofu and shrimp with Thai noodles and all these veggies in it growing up in Texas? And then she turned into the foodie, but we eat very similar stuff, but she cooks very different than I do. So then when we go out of town, we both love all the same things and appreciate the food, except they don't really like fish tacos as much as I like fish tacos, but they like more like 5-6 course meals, right? So you have to expand yet again. Expand your wallet. Expand the thinking of your wallet, right? Because it's like, you don't really eat like that at home. At least I don't. And, because I cook in the kitchen, I'll cook myself 5 courses in the kitchen, cheese and crackers, veggies, chicken and rice, maybe a piece of dark chocolate. See, I'm up to 4 meals right there, 4 courses. So we're expanding our wallet to be like the foodies we've never been, eating poke bowls left and right. I don't even like raw fish anymore. It's too many parasites. I could not get enough poke bowls. They know how to do the poke bowls in Hawaii. Not sure if it's just because the fish comes right off the boat and you can really taste that freshness, or is it just because it's a local Hawaiian dish and everybody just loves it. So there's so much love around it. But man, I could eat poke morning, noon, and night. So that was, again, another expansion, like a rule. I don't eat raw fish because of parasites. Boom, rule shattered. Expand. Okay, I'm going to have a poke bowl as my first meal when I land, which I did. So also expanding. Okay, I have another rule of I don't really like hot tubs. I don't like the chemicals in hot tubs. I don't like how they make me feel. I really don't like hot tubs. And they had this beautiful hot tub on the deck, just calling my name, saying, get in the hot tub. It's amazing. It's like misting and raining. And I was like, oh, okay, expand. In and out. All right, I'm going to get in the hot tub. I don't know what chemicals are in here. I don't know anything, but I'm going to get in the hot tub and I'm going to love it. And I did. And so I'm not even there a day, and I've expanded and grown my mental construct around all my hidden rules. And then I had this awareness of traveling. And tell me if you do this, because I didn't even realize that we were doing this as a couple. Okay. We love to travel. So therefore, we'll travel more often and not just blow it out with the most expensive vacation. We'll budget shop for flights or budget shop for hotel, budget shop for, we'll eat fish tacos instead of 5 courses, that kind of stuff. So we'll budget. I call it budget vacation, but it's still expensive, but it's just, we're kind of budgeting the whole time. And to get there, well, on our last night, we did not budget for the hotel. I said, you know what? Let's just pick something that has an amazing view, an amazing review, and something that's on the beach and something that we can really just splurge for the night. So we walked in Waikoloa. It's a Marriott hotel, which was incredible. And I just had this realization of 24 hours of being there. They let us check in a little early because our room happened to be ready. And the checkout wasn't until noon, which, on the cheaper hotels, it's 10 or 11. And we had such beautiful food, coffee, relaxation. They had all these decks to overlook the ocean. We saw 6 turtles. One was on the land sleeping. We hiked around to the different beaches. They have a beach club called Lava Java Beach Club, which is our Floribama in Alabama. And the Lava Java Beach Club does not disappoint. Talk about fish tacos with a mango salsa. Ooh, and a wasabi dipping sauce. It was incredible. Now their poke was amazing too. And their sashimi and their sushi nachos. I mean, we ate there 3 times in 24 hours. But that's so me and Andre. Once we find a place, we sat in different places. Like one time we sat at the bar, one time we sat at the high top, one time we sat at the beach. So we mix it up a little, but not much. So Lava Java Beach Club, freaking fantastic. The bartenders, the wait staff, everybody was amazing. So it was just wonderful. And then, so we just had like this magical, experience then. And I said, you know what? Our next vacation, what if we don't try to budget so much on the place? Because I always complain about a hotel that we stay in. And I had 0 complaints about our Airbnb, which was incredible, and 0 complaints about Waikoloa, the Marriott. So what was the pattern change? The pattern change was I didn't budget for that. Or maybe I should say not use the word budget. Maybe I should use the word splurged, right? So splurged for Waikoloa. And it ended up being breaking all my rules of like, okay, well, we have to like cut corners on dinner and cut corners on the room and cut corners to afford everything, instead of just setting the intention in the beginning and saying, no, we're not going to do that this time because I'm turning 50 this year and I can do that this year, right? And so I said, what if in the future when we travel, we just don't like budget cut ourselves? Even if we travel less, we set the intention that it's going to be more of an expansive trip instead of like a budget-friendly trip. What if we change our ideas and our mindset that it's going to be magical no matter what you eat, what you do, what the schedule is, where you stay, it's just going to be perfect. Do you feel that? It's like you kind of like bust out of your own rules that you didn't even know you had. And it just feels so right. Like you're coming into your heart and you're just like, okay, that feels right. And now I will have to deal with personally having to travel less if I want to spend more, right? Because no matter what, we still have a budget at home. So I'll have to travel less. But will I? Will I? This is where you can go again into the expansion. It's like, wait, why does the mind put another rule on me? I'll have to travel less so that I could spend more on my vacations. That's a made up rule. Again, that's just another mental construct coming in, my ego coming in and saying, you're going to have to travel less because you have bigger tastes now. You like five-course dinners and you like nicer places to stay. And so you're going to have to travel less. Or my ego, which you may hear too, you're going to have to make more money in order to travel more and spend more. See, so all these rules come in from the ego and from our mental capacity and try to tell us what to do and how to do it and when. And my intention for you and for me is that you and me, we can set our intention on whatever it needs to be. Whatever it needs to be. If we want to go to Hawaii 4 times a year and get someone to watch the kids and the dogs and stay at the nicest place, then we can, if that's our intention and we work towards our intention. But our other option is to just listen to our mental constructs and our ego and to follow those rules, which are always going to be more limited. And the fun thing around hanging around my bestie is that, she's known me since I think we decided it was 7th grade. And we decided 7th grade? Yes, 7th grade. And so we've known each other really well. So we can say like, hey, maybe you should think about that differently, or maybe you should think about that differently, or, oh, I'm doing this in my life. Oh, I'm doing this in my life. So it's nice to have someone to like bounce off on that's known you for a while. So think about that person in your life that knows you, like really knows you. And think about a person in your life that you can bounce your ideas and dreams off of, that won't just shoot it down. The dream crusher, I'm calling it, is, do you want to support your own dreams? Can you expand into your own dreams, right? If Gay's whole thing with me was expansion, then why am I not doing it? I mean, I am doing it, but why did it take me? See, because I coached with him probably, I don't know, maybe 2.5 years ago. My expansion lessons have been coming, but I've just been ignoring him. And finally, turning 50 this year, I'm not going to ignore them anymore. I'm just going to expand, expand, expand. And even my ego, I want you to think about when you say the word expand, do you think physically? Do you think mentally? Do you think emotionally? Do you think spiritually? Because in order to expand, we have to do every layer of ourselves, okay? And we have an etheric layer, which is the outer energy layer, right? Our aura. We have our mental layer, which we've been talking about today, just like our mental mind, our brain that actually comes in and tells us to do this or this, but not that, right? And then we have to find our emotional layer. Ooh, and that's the juicy layer. Yes. It's like, really, we don't change unless we tap into our emotions, which is why this is so interesting, because it took me 3 times to do this podcast. And I was like so irritated. Yet the title, before I even pressed record the first time, was When Irritation is a Sign to Get Creative. So we have to use, people always say like, use anger to like fuel your passion. But it's really one and the same energy, right? We just have to transform and transmute that anger into creativity. And then we have to ask ourselves, how do we want to be creative? And am I creative? And what do I want to create? So what do I want to create? It's like, let me just ask myself, what makes me happy, as far as, what do I want to bring in the world that's creative? So I have a surprise for you. I'm making a cellulite scrub that I got in Hawaii, and not like the scrub itself, but I got the actual service. And my scrubber lady, she was freaking amazing. She told me some of the ingredients in it. And so I'm going to make a cellulite scrub for you, because I noticed the very next day, I kept staring at my legs and I was like, I cannot believe this worked this well. And it was an hour of scrubbing. Now, granted, I know you're not going to scrub yourself for an hour, but it was an hour service. And we just, chatted back and forth. And what did she do? She expanded instead of body shaming myself and being like, oh, I have cellulite, because I do. Thanks, Mom. I was like, oh, what? How come no one has told me this? I'm almost 50. I gotta share this with my friends and my family. I'm going to make this. So I've ordered all the stuff, and then I'm going to start making my little tester and scrubbing myself. And so you'll see that soon happening. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so I want to share that with you. Stay tuned. It's going to be magic. And then I'm going to infuse some of my money mantras and Reiki mantras that I use for my sprays, my abundance sprays and soul purpose. And so I'm going to infuse that into the scrub, so the body will feel so good. We're going to expand into this next 50 years feeling good about our body instead of feeling bad about it, because we're only going to be more saggy and not at our best as we age. as far as skin goes, and as far as our perkiness goes, and as far as our hair goes. So we really have to learn to love ourselves differently. And I felt like this trip, I got to learn to love myself differently. And the other magical thing is I saw a women's group that were in their 70s, and they had their bikinis on and their white cover-ups and their hats and their sunscreen and their flip-flops, and they were all hanging out right next to us. And I just said to myself, I want to do that when I'm in my 70s. I still want to have girls trips, and I want to wear bikinis, and I want to be on the beach in Hawaii. And, they were all just chilling on their chairs and scooping them all around each other. And I just think it was just so cute. And I was like, okay, I'm turning 50 this year, but in 70, I want to do the same thing. I want to do it with girls and our spouses and our kids and our grandbabies. And it just helped me expand so much my thinking. And I think we just realized that, like, in Louisiana, not even in Louisiana, it's any state, it's your house, it's your structure. We get closed-minded. We get, tuned in to the wrong frequency, the wrong vibration. We get tuned into politics or, dirty water and pesticides and bad things in our food. And it just is so limiting. And so I just, whatever your creative spirit wants to bring in, let that irritation fuel it. Let it fuel it so that it can expand you instead of giving up. Like, I could have never recorded this podcast and I've given up. And I've gotten 15 phone calls in this podcast because I'm supposed to be picking up 7 boys right now. And I'm not there. But I am determined. I want to finish this podcast and get this message out because, then I'll be hosting 7 preteen boys in the pool. So I can do this, right? 3rd time's a charm. So they can wait a minute. But take that irritation, take that dullness, take that that frequency that doesn't feel vibrant, and breathe in and expand. Use Gay's technique. Breathe in and expand. And just notice where you have limited mental constructs. And then ask yourself, okay, as we end, I want you to ask yourself, are you working on your energetic body? Are you working on your aura? Are you working on your mental capacity? Are you working on your emotional capacity? And lastly, are you working on your physical capacity? We have to work each layer of our energetic body, our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, and our auric body, or we can't transform and transmute the energy. It is impossible. You can try to do all you want with the physical, but unless you're working on mental and spiritual and emotional, it's not going to change very much. It'll change a little, but you won't have that major ability to expand and really achieve your dreams. So let's get creative together. I'm going to do a little cellulite scrub. What are you going to do? How are you going to bring your gifts into the world? How are you going to change that irritation that you feel, that I know you feel, okay? And how are you going to bring that in, transform and transmute it, and pop out something creative? I want to hear from you. So let's end there because I'm missing all the text messages and all the phone calls about the boys that I'm supposed to be feeding lunch to right now. So I gotta go, but I love you. And I'm so excited to hear your creative adventures, and put Hawaii on your bucket list. And let's talk again soon. Remember, pick up the phone and call me, text me, leave a comment, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends about the podcast. If you think they would like different topics like this, then please send them my way. Awaken Change, okay? On Spotify, Apple, any podcast space. And then you can find me at awakenchange.com. So I really appreciate you. I love you. Sat Nam.
This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Please use your own discernment and seek professional care when needed.